problem of congestion on the transmission grids will only increase in the future, I guess. How can we prevent the system from a total collapse?
Very good question. Indeed, the problem of congestion at transmission grid will increase, but not only at transmission grid. And the problem is also increasing at distribution grid, both medium but also low voltage. So that means even a bigger option for a total collapse, but of course it will not happen. That's why we look for solutions together with the system operators to prevent congestion, to predict and to mitigate. And so there we need to have competences and we need to have new tools for system operators so they can actually work on the problem before we are at the stage of collapsing. So it will not happen because we have those innovations ready.
Yes, and you also mentioned some of the solutions. Can you be a little bit more concrete? What are you working on at this very moment, for instance?
Yeah. First step is, of course, you need to know where you need to invest in your grid to reinforce it. So you need to do an impact assessment of your grid. Where will this problem of congestion in the future due to electric vehicles, where will it happen? If you know that, you can already start making the grid stronger. Secondly, if you have done that, you need to forecast on a daily basis where you will see congestion. And there, that's what we do together with system operators. We work on forecasting modules to really predict the congestion, making sure that they know today where is the risk tomorrow, and they can act and look, for example, for flexibility as one of the options to solve congestion the next day.
And don't you think should we not rely more on implicit mechanisms such as grid tariffs?
Very good question. So I said, okay, we will know the day before where there will be congestion the next day, and then they look for flexibility. But flexibility is not just about markets. Flexibility can also be, for example, a reaction on a price signal coming from a dynamic grid tariff. So yes, grid tariffs could be a possible solution. Of course, next to that, there are also connection agreements, and there is also the possibility to go to flexibility markets. There are multiple options possible, and probably the answer will be a combination of all three.
And the European legislation is ready for it, or do you still have to? Still await some major changes?
We see that the European legislation is ready. They put a lot of, I would say, new recommendations and regulation, which is now transposed to national regulation, but who is not yet ready is the system operator. They need to develop those new tools and competences, but the biggest challenge will be the consumer. The consumer is not yet ready. For the consumer, the energy transition is very abstract. And although it sounds very social in an engineering context, we need to have the consumer on board, because independent which flexibility we will use, a tariff or a market, flexibility will come from the consumer. He has the electric vehicle, he has the heat pump, he has the solar panels. So if the consumer is with us, the flexibility options will be there, and the system operators who will have developed their new tools and competences will be able to use it.
Thank you so much for the interview.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you.